Go live now. Let me go to Instagram. Let's see. I hope. Let's see here. I think I am live. Live video. Audience. I don't know. I can never get that part right. Okay, so let me.
Hey.
All right. So we are actually live, local, and late breaking. I want to welcome everyone to, again, my clinical research virtual career fair. And today we have Dr. Crain on here as my guest speaker. We talked not long ago about her journey at getting into the clinical research industry and how she wants to become a clinical research site owner. Right now, she is a senior research coordinator, and again, she's an aspiring clinical research coordinator. So, Jazmine, I don't want to take up too much of the time. Can you tell us what inspired you, to get your PhD? Let's start from that point.
Yes. So, I would say towards the end of my undergraduate career, I was kind of faced with the decision either to go to med school or continue, down the PhD track. I didn't know too much about, getting a PhD. I went to Xavier University of Louisiana, where they do graduate a high African American rate of medical school students who do go to medical school. So that was pretty much, the idea and the track that I wanted to go down, but things were a little bit different for me. And I did get the opportunity to go to University of Cincinnati the summer before I graduated from undergraduate. And so I was on a project that I love so much. I worked with my graduate mentor, who is Dr. Nina, and at the University of Cincinnati. And we did some really amazing work that led to a publication. And I spoke with the PI, and who is Dr. Mack at the University of Cincinnati. And he just asked me what were my plans after graduating from undergraduate. And I pretty much didn't have, a real good, solid foundation to tell him. And so he kind of put it in my mind. He was like, look, you really have the knack for research. And, if you ever want to continue getting the PhD, to reach out to him. And towards the end of my undergraduate career, I did do that. I reached out to him and I was like, I think I do want to do this PhD thing. Like it sounds very good. I get paid and I learn.
Nice.
I get to learn at my own, basically your own pace. You get to learn different components of science, and it was very intriguing for me. I always love to ask questions. That's my main thing. I love to ask questions. So that was very much up my alley and up my avenue, and I'm very glad I did it. And it led me to where I am now.
Excellent. So what did you say you got your PhD in? Was it in?
It's in chemistry. It's in chemistry.
Okay.
So I have a little bit of background in analytical chemistry, biochemistry, and mechanochemistry.
Oh, wow. You're intelligent. You're so smart.
Yes. Thank you.
How was it a difficult pathway for you to take, or like the content of your PhD? How difficult was that? Because, us being in the science industry, it has various different levels of difficulty. And to me, in my master's with biology, that was difficult for me. So I know to me in my mind, with getting a PhD, it's another level of difficulty. So yes. How did you manage that?
I just really relied on the community of other graduate students that I was going through
Mhm.
the program with. We really relied on each other for references, resources,
Mhm.
just mental health days. If we just wanted to do that with one another, that really helped. I had family to come up sometimes when it was, we had breaks and everything. They came up, but it was really difficult trying to navigate learning, complex scientific ideas on my own with not much
Mhm.
guidance other than the guidance that
Mhm.
I got from my PI. It was very much different from what I did in undergrad, where they pretty much told you the information that you needed to know and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. And so just
Yeah.
getting into the PhD program, you were kind of much of your own researcher, and you kind of
Mhm.
managed your own projects and saw it from startup to to the finish of the projects. And some projects didn't work and you definitely
Uh-huh.
had to figure out why it didn't work, how it didn't work, and all of those small
Mhm.
details, and just learning all of the information that it took to get down to those type of details. So that was very
Yeah.
much challenging, but it was also
Mhm.
rewarding in the end, I would say.
Absolutely. And
Yes,
I
yes.
heard you say something that actually relates to the clinical research field. What was it? Managing, whenever you
Projects,
get into
yes.
yes, managing projects. So project management, that's what I think of. Time management,
Mm-hmm.
working
Mm-hmm.
well with others, teamwork. So
Mm-hmm.
all you have a lot of transferable skills, obviously, that's good for this industry.
Yes, yes.
Got a couple of comments, questions from Kelvin. Kelvin
Okay.
says, let's go. PhD in chemistry is challenging. Nice work, Jazmine.
Thank you. Thank you, Calvin.
And then he said that my BS was in chemistry. Oh, nice.
Oh,
I know
yes.
that was difficult.
That's very
Yes.
difficult. Going through
Hmm.
organic chemistry is not
Yes.
is not easy.
Look, I took organic chemistry 1, biochemistry 101 and 2, and
Hmm.
all those other chemistries, and it was chemistry 1 and 2, and those were difficult courses.
Yes.
And they're
Yes.
not easy at all. You really have to push through and have the mindset to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and lean on whatever tutoring sessions that they have,
Yes. Yes.
or your classmates, your group sessions that you have, study sessions. So I remember those. I'm glad
Yes.
I'm done.
Yes. Yes, and it's something
So,
that you have to continuously study. Because
mhm.
I can remember being a teaching assistant at the University of Cincinnati, holding some of these study sessions and making sure that I refresh myself on some of these mechanisms and such, and arrow
Mhm.
pushing, because it can get very complex when you're studying multiple chemistries and so on. And so
Mhm.
you definitely have to keep yourself refreshed. So I can understand just going through those classes, how much challenging that can be as well.
So, and then Kevin says, did you take spectrometric ID of organic chemicals
Yes,
using an MR? Okay, she says
yes,
yes.
yes, yes.
And
I did
then he
that all
also,
the way through my graduate career. Yes.
these are good questions. Um, he also asked, physical chemistry was the most challenging for me. I like organic chemistry.
Organic chem.
Oh, so you're one
Yeah,
of
physical
those.
chemistry can get a little bit confusing when they're talking about
Mhm.
the surroundings and the atmosphere. Yeah, yeah, the gas
Yeah.
particles and things. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That was very challenging for me too, as well.
He is a very active guest commenter, if you will. So, and I
Oh,
thank you for
six
that. He
hours
said,
a day on organic. Woo! Yes, that's
I believe that.
necessary. It's
Yes,
necessary.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. So he says, yes, I study for 6 hours a day on organic chemistry. It's a different way of learning. It is.
Very much.
Quantum mechanics was the only C I've ever gotten. Well, you're very
Oh,
smart.
those the particles in the waves. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. We had to learn the
So,
theory of quantum mechanics as well.
I didn't enjoy organic chemistry like that. I knew I had to take it for my degree, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that it's over with.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so what are you doing now? You said you are a senior research coordinator. So
Mm-hmm.
how can you tell the audience what a day in the life looks like for a senior research coordinator?
Of course. So, I am a lead CRC on one study at this moment. And so, what I would do on a normal day to day basis, since I do try to recruit patients through patient messaging through our hospital system, I'll come in the mornings and I'll check, to see if any patients reply to my recruitment messages. And for those who
Mm-hmm,
do, I'll call, I'll reach out, I'll see if they want to set up a screening visit. And so that's more so of the visit to determine their eligibility on being on the study. And so
mm-hmm,
if I do have people that want to come in, I'll take some time there to schedule. And during that time of scheduling, I'm making my notes in our hospital system of reaching out and having communication with the patient as well. And so I try to do that, but when I get in, so I can make sure I'm having communication with all of my patients, at a
mm-hmm,
decent time of the day, because I understand some of my patients do work and everything of that sort. So I try to come in and have the communication early with them. After that, I pretty much make sure that all of my documents, so my source documents, any of my EDC forms, any queries or anything like that is all completed and answered and successfully done to the sponsor and the protocol guidelines. And
mm-hmm,
so I will take a little bit of time to look over those things, make sure all those things are up to date. And then I'll take a lunch. So then that'll be about my lunchtime. And then after lunch,
mm-hmm,
I'll try to find other things either to learn that I don't know, because I love to learn. So I love to get
mm-hmm,
on our, it's called the Learning Network, Ochsner Learning Network. And so it allows
mm-hmm,
you to take courses on Excel, on different clinical industry guidelines that you didn't know that you would like to learn. So it allows you to self-enroll and take some courses like that, and data management courses as well. So I get on there and I'll take some courses, just to add a little bit of professional development within my day. And I'll
mm-hmm.
kind of end my day just making sure that all of the things in my EDC are, up to date. I don't have any lingering forms or any updates to put into the EDC, and just make sure that all the things in the lab is pretty much good to go for the next day. And that's pretty much how a day and as a senior CRC goes. And I always look to help on other
Mm-hmm.
studies if other
Mm-hmm.
coordinators around me are looking for help. If I do have that time, I do look for other ways to help on different studies, just to learn different things as well.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is great. You're
Mm-hmm.
very, of course, you take on a leadership position,
Mm-hmm.
role. You're willing to learn, which to me, it sets you up for being a site owner.
Mm-hmm.
So your career, your journey into site ownership, what made you decide like, hey, this is the route that I want to take? Um, because for me, I know I live in what they call a research desert area.
Yes,
I heard
yes.
Dr. Fox say this, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly right, because the nearest one clinical research site is usually like 2.5, 3 hours away. So I'm
Right,
like, you know
right.
what, that's something I can do. It's a long-term goal for me that I can bring
Mm-hmm.
into my community. And it will also bring in job opportunities for people that are looking
Mm-hmm.
to get into the industry, because again, that is not around here. And if somebody's wanting to get into the industry right now, with the way the market is so competitive, it's
Yes,
best to start at the site level, training, volunteering, things like that. So it would
yes.
be so wonderful to bring that into the community here. So again,
Mm-hmm.
back to you. What made you decide on site ownership going towards that pathway?
Some of the similar things that you mentioned as well, Alicia. I do feel like I'm also in a clinical research desert being in Mississippi. I basically had to go to Louisiana to land my first job into the industry. And so through that process, it was a very much grueling process trying to, find ways to get into the industry where I was here in Mississippi. And it was just, very daunting. And I just felt that was a need to, increase the clinical research presence out here for those who are needing the treatment, also for those who are needing the career opportunities. I feel like this is a great hub for those who are underserved to get some of those treatments for the clinical research studies as well if they cannot afford them going to the hospital and such. So I do think I can bring that to this population out here. But yeah, I do believe just not having that opportunity to get into clinical research within my hometown really just ignited me to really just go after the site ownership as well as bring opportunities and treatment to those that's also in my community as well.
So what exactly did you have to do to get into the research industry? Did you have to volunteer, or what were some of your steps that you took to get to the position that you're in now?
Yes, so I did not do any volunteering, but I did a lot of networking. So when I first started out on my career search in the clinical research industry, I had no idea what it was, what it entailed, what type of roles, that I could hold with my advanced degree as well. So I was really brand new looking and coming to this industry. So what I decided to do is just really get on the LinkedIn platform, the Facebook, and just really get into these groups and just really start asking questions. Because like I said, I'm really good at asking questions. I don't mind asking questions. And I just really wanted to know, how can I get into this research industry successfully? And so I got into the Black Women in Clinical Research group. I also got into some clinical research groups on Facebook. I also started talking to some mentors on LinkedIn. I looked for people who had the roles that either fit my background or fit my interests. And I asked for informational sessions with them. Just had a few questions already written out on what did they do, what was their career trajectory into their role, and if they had to do take any other classes, get any more certifications. So I just wanted to make sure I was good on that front. But just really getting all the knowledge and information as far as interviews, as far as just learning about the industry, the guidelines and everything as well. It really just helped me break into the industry. And no, I didn't do any internships or anything like that, but I did take some courses online that taught me just a little bit about the definitions that are involved in clinical research. Just real basic information about clinical research, and then just having those talks and just the informational sessions definitely helped. And I would say on my maybe the 6th interview, I did well, and I landed my senior CRC position.
So you guys, there are a couple of things that she said that is very important. First of all, networking to get into the research industry. Not just sitting around waiting for an opportunity to come to you. You have to go to it. You have not because you asked not. So she asked a lot of questions. She took the initiative to look up definitions as it pertains to the clinical research industry, which, by the way, for my program, for my coaching program, that's something that I want to do for my clients. That way, I'm already doing the legwork for them. They already have the definitions in front of them. So whenever they get ready to present themselves in an interview, they already have like an overarching view of what, the industry terms, what they mean and how it applies to the job that they are going to do. Let's see what else. And just she was persistent. She didn't give up on the first or
Right.
second or third interview. It took, the
Right.
sixth interview to get to where she is,
Mm-hmm.
right to where you are right now, which is
Mm-hmm.
very inspiring. So,
Mm-hmm.
Kelvin, let's go to Kelvin. He says, "Are you involved in the consent process?"
Yes, heavily, Kelvin. So whenever I do reach out to my patients or my participants about the interest of a study, and they do show interest, I do have to set up that screening visit or schedule the screening visit. And within that screening visit, if they are eligible to be on the study, we do consent them to be on the study. So that is also within the CRC role or the clinical research coordinator role as well.
Awesome.
Mhm.
He also says, "That's amazing, Alicia. Thank you."
Yes, yes.
It's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that I didn't know existed. But hey, it's well worth it. You are, again, like we're both providing a service to our communities
Mhm.
eventually that has never been provided. It's something different and it's good and it's going to be solving a lot of problems.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's see. He gives us a link. Sky Research Network serves Mississippi. I think would be a great opportunity for you to network with them. So that's in the comments for you, Jazmine. I
Okay.
don't know if you know anything about that.
I have not heard of Sky Research Network, but I would definitely look into them. Thank you, Kelvin.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Um, and that's in the comments. Dr. Crain has the passionate. Yes, she does. She has the passion to lead and will be a great site owner. Yes, she will. I have to agree with
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. The passion is definitely
Helen,
there. It's
yes, it
definitely
is.
there.
And she has a heart for the people. She has a
Yes.
heart for her community and just she loves science, obviously. Her
Mhm.
PhD is in chemistry. So
Mhm.
that says a lot
Thank you.
to her. Let's see here. That's awesome. Some sites do not allow CRCs to consent. And I think a lot of senior CRCs are more than qualified. I didn't know that. Not aware
Yeah,
of that.
that's new to
Okay.
me.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kelvin.
Thank you.
Um, so as far as becoming a site owner, have you dived into how you're going to get your site up and running in the near future? Are you going to, we talked about a little bit about site management organizations,
Mhm.
SMOs. And
Mhm.
I actually did a podcast with Dr. Fox, Dr. Danawi, and Mitchell on that topic. So
Mhm.
have you done your research on that? We talked a little bit about it, and what conclusion do you have as far as having another team to help you execute your plan and get it up and running versus you just doing it by yourself
Yeah,
alone?
yeah. So I did do a little bit of research on site management organizations, and I do feel like they are very instrumental in helping. Um, I would say new site owners definitely open up their or start their new site. I would say for me, it's more beneficial in that I've been in clinical research less than a year. And there's only so
Mm-hmm.
much that I know as far as contracts and budgets. I've sat in on a meeting of with contracts and budgets when they are negotiating and such, but I just really haven't had a hands-on experience. Now I am looking and trying to find that hands-on experience as we
Mm-hmm.
speak. But I would think as far as now, I would definitely need some type of help when it comes to negotiating
Absolutely.
contracts, doing the whole study startup process. As a CRC, we may have some instances where we do or when we are involved in the study startup process, but not the entire thing. And I think as
Mm-hmm.
a site owner, you should at least know what's going on or have someone who can come in to help you start some of your studies as well. And so I do think that is a beneficial and instrumental piece when opening up a site. And I do think that SMOs are great when it comes to that aspect. I do think as a new study start or as a new site owner, the financial piece may be a little bit of a strain. But I do
Yes.
think, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all the costs that it comes with having your site. up and running and up to protocol, as well as paying the SMOs. So I would think that's more of a a con when it comes to working with SMOs. But I feel like, if you all have a great relationship and you work on things professionally, things should go fairly well. So I do look to work with a potential SMO whenever I do look to get my site ownership up and running, that business venture up and going. But as far as right now, I'm just trying to learn a little bit more on the CRC side to see what I don't know and just try to gather all that information and to learn a little bit more about the regulatory side as a whole. Because I know that I lack a little bit of information on that front as well. So just trying to get all of those things, just a little bit of knowledge of those things and try to move forward. Yeah.
See, I know whenever I had the podcast with Dr. Fox and we talked about SMOs, he said that a lot of times, but basically, if you were to do this on your own, not that it's impossible, but the amount of money and time it would take for you to even raise, I think he mentioned like $300,000 would take you forever if you even meet that goal versus hiring an SMO, whereas they can, I'll basically hit the ground running, train your staff, do everything that you need to do, write your SOPs, get all that baseline stuff ready to go for you within a shorter time period, help you bring in studies and things like that. So initially the cost would be, in my mind, a little expensive, but it would be more expensive if we were to just do it on our own.
Yeah. And not just
also
time wise as well.
Yeah.
Costly. Yes.
Time wise. And then the frustration and stress that's it's going to go along with it. You cut that by more than half, like by 75%, I would think.
Yes.
Let's see, it was something else I was going to mention. Grants. By us being African American women, there are specific grants that we can apply for. And that's something that I need to start doing. That's something you can probably start doing eventually, maybe applying weekly, set a goal weekly and apply to see which one is for you once you have your business name set up with the federal government or whatever. So that's another thing that we can, or any future other site owners, you can start applying for grants. I don't know how long it would take for it to be awarded to you, but that's something that was mentioned to me, and I thought, oh yeah, that's something I can do.
Actually, that also crossed my mind as well, is applying for grants and trying to get it done that way as well. Yeah.
So Kelvin, he says they do. Let's see, hold on. They do mostly diabetes 2, obesity, and NASH studies at Sky Research Network. Okay. Thanks, Kelvin.
Thank you. Yeah.
Full transparency, I teared up a little when you guys explained your why during the SMO webinar. Yeah, it goes a little deeper, but budget and contract most challenging and last to get executed. Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very challenging. And like I said, I only looked in on some of these meetings and wow, they were intense. And there were a lot of back and forth. Things were getting done here and there. And I would definitely love to learn a little bit more about that.
I think that's smart, instead of just going head deep in it and you don't, educating yourself.
Don't know, right?
Anything.
Just have at least an idea of something. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I've got my questions here on the phone.
Okay.
So we did talk about some barriers that you would experience as a site owner, but what barriers do you see as a site owner in Mississippi? Have you thought about the barriers in Mississippi, and how do you think you would be able to overcome those barriers?
Yeah.
As a site owner?
Yeah, I would say outside from the financial restraints of trying to open up my own site in Mississippi, I would say the next barrier that I would potentially face that I thought about could possibly be patient recruitment and retention. Yeah, I would say Mississippi does fall at the bottom of most key health indicators, and so that could be due to a lack of education about nutrition and health, and just not having the treatment that they need. And so just trying to get them on board with research and what it could do for them and their health and their wellness, I think could potentially be a barrier. But I do look to overcome that by promoting health and promoting wellness in my community, and showing them, the good of clinical research and what it could do and what it could bring to communities and the treatments and those things. And so I do understand that, there is a stigma when it comes to diversity and clinical research.
Yes.
And I look to address those diversity gaps and look to get, more educational material out there to the public and to the community. And so we can have participants, of the African American descent and so on the diversity scale. And I do see that being a barrier, but I hope to have a plan in place in order to overcome that barrier and to bring, global health outcomes to my community in Mississippi.
And see, I think a lot of things, maybe something that some people don't want to mention, what would really help is sometimes it helps a lot whenever people see somebody that looks like you. Then they can say, hey, you know what? Oh, he or she, I feel more comfortable with participating in this clinical trial or whatever project that you have going on because that person looks like me. Maybe they can relate to how I'm feeling or the objections I may be experiencing or, just the questions that I may have. They, they can understand my point of view. Right. So with that being said, how would you go about promoting and sharing the educational information, whether it's with flyers, and since you have your PhD in chemistry, I mean, you're a teacher, you're a professor,
right?
So you would be able to teach, a lot of things. So have you thought about holding your own seminars in your community?
Yes. So I always thought about just meeting the people where they are and just going out to these community health events or going out to the hospital wherever they hold events for, patients or participants, and just sharing, the word of clinical research and sharing health and wellness and just sharing how, what we eat and what we do for our bodies can impact the way that we live the quality of our lives. And so I do look to get into the community and share that with them and use my knowledge to present that in the most educational and precise way. So I do look to go to these community health events and get out the word about research. I would say in my position now, we rarely do these events, and I see a lot of people at these events and, get recruited for, not for studies, but just, recruited for treatment and conditions and things like that at these events. And I want to be there doing that. And so that's what I look to do and how to spread the word that way.
So I think whenever we get offline, I would like for us to actually come together and discuss some more strategies and ways we can get our information out there into the community. One of the ones that you just mentioned, like maybe the health fairs that they have at the some community events, and making our way into the scenery and letting people know, like, hey, this is what we do for a living. This is how you can help participate. And, you're not just a number. You're not just a guinea pig because you participated in a clinical trial. Guess what? You're bringing a certain drug to the market. You're going to help bring a certain drug to the market that's going to help either somebody live a longer lifestyle or manage the disease that they're or cancer that they're dealing with, or just, having that more time with family and friends. So you matter. You're not just a number. So you really do matter to us.
Yes. So, and I also see that as a way of them just seeing a face rather than just getting a message or a phone call about a study, just seeing who's behind the study, who is, actually working on the study, who's going to be handling my information, who's going to be handling, everything that's vital to me, So just putting a face to the name and just feeling very comfortable about being in the study and being out there in the community, I think is also very important too.
Awesome.
Yes.
We got a lot of work to do. We got to hit the ground running, but a lot of groundwork to cover, but I think it's going to be very phenomenal. I really do. Once, people become comfortable with the information, just who we are, and just we know that we're pillars in our community. That's just the bottom line. And you have to show up and show people, show compassion and show understanding. And as you said, meet people where they are. And I know it very well. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's something I had to learn. I definitely had to learn, and it's great in building relationships as well.
That's what it is. And treating people like family, as much as you can, having that family idea or family bond. That's what I call it. Bees being attracted to your honey. At some point, bees being attracted to your honey. If you are sweet enough, I'm not saying, be a doormat or anything, but if you're sweet enough and people see that you're passionate about what you do, they're going to be drawn to you.
Correct.
So,
right.
Let's see here. Yes, the Kelvin says, yes, they get intense, especially when the church. Yeah. Community research sites is how you gain trust. Love what you do. Absolutely.
That's very true.
And then he also says, amen to building relationships in clinical research. That's what it's all about.
Even whenever we're in our
yeah.
Yes, it's all about
constantly building relationships and networking, with cross-functional team members, whether you're from the UK or China, you're still building those relationships. So it's the same thing when you go out into your community. Same thing.
Very true.
So let's see here. I think we kind of touched on this. Well, what are you doing now? We did the pros and cons to the. So the pros and cons to the industry. What do you see as a pro, as a con? And again, we already know how you're going to make a difference. You already talked about that. So what are the pros
of the industry?
Okay.
Basically what you said, the building relationships and the cross-functional teams. I just think it is very amazing how, so many different teams and different people and different hands can go in a clinical research study and, create something so beautiful, basically.
Yeah.
And it just really fascinates me how, a lot of very knowledgeable clinical professionals can come together and really, figure out and strategize how we're going to bring this treatment to, thousands and thousands of people. And that's amazing. And that's really amazing. I would say along with that, a con that I could bring up would be the time that it takes to get some of these things done.
It takes a while.
Yes, it takes a while. And working in an academic hospital that I'm in, things takes months, just to get the forms signed and things and so forth. And so what I think that's coming along that can really help that issue out is the switch to the electronic side of clinical research. So the virtual visits, the e-consents and everything like that. I just got the approval to do phone consents on one of my studies, and I'm getting people in so quick. It's so much quicker and it's so much better than having them visit in office. And they like it. They prefer it, actually. And I think that's really great, and how that's going to progress on and potentially have e-visits. And those will really streamline a lot of processes as well.
So with the e-consent, or not e-consents, or the phone consents, do you feel like the patient retention is much higher?
Retention, I don't know yet, since I just started the phone consents. But I will say I do have a lot more participants who are willing to do the phone consents rather than come in to do the in-person consent. So once I give them the option of doing either a phone or in-person consent, they automatically go for the phone consent and ask when can they schedule the phone consent. And I'm like, oh, well, it only takes like a couple minutes. And so a lot of people like to do it right then and right there. And so I will say that it's bringing in more people, I guess, due to its convenience. And I do see a lot more people, enjoying that convenience because, like I said, a lot of my participants, they work throughout the day. So this is definitely good to have a higher enrollment for those particular populations. Yes.
Kelvin is back with another wonderful question.
Okay.
What strategies can we implement to effectively scale community research sites and expand outreach to a wider audience?
That's a good question.
I think holding webinars, you can hold webinars for people that can't actually go to an in-person webinar. I think that would be a good way to like online to reach a wider audience, because sometimes, again, people are working all these odd hours. A lot of times they don't feel like going out to maybe a building to listen to what somebody else has to say. Maybe it's a much easier and convenient to sit in on a webinar like this, and they can log off or do whatever they have to do and multitask with children, family, husband, whatever. I think that would be a way to reach a wider audience. Let's see here. And then I think another good way would be probably, the health fairs. If the hospital that's in the area, you can communicate with them and say, hey, when are you going to have like your next health fair? Is there any possible way I can, join in and bring this side of the health industry to, get the word out about clinical research? So that would be another way. I think if I'm answering his questions right off the top of my head, I think another way of doing it again is a lot of times on Facebook, you see where you have events. There are events on the Facebook page you can look at. Maybe you can, tap into some of those and see if you can create your own event. That way. So I think there are different ways of going about that. Kelvin, does that answer your question? Let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you have any ideas other than what I mentioned?
I was basically thinking on the same lines, just getting along with community health fairs, doing webinars like we're doing now. I do see that a lot of research sites I really don't know too much about unless I Google them. So just having a larger platform where multiple sites can, come and share information and share just things about running a site, opening a site. I think that could be something that could reach a wider audience and a lot more sites as well, community sites at that. Yeah.
Correct. Another great question. How can sponsors best support the scaling and growth of community research sites? Probably, I would think budgeting, allowing more, entering that into their budget, allowing more for the budget, giving sites more money for those things, because it does cost.
Yes, it does cost. Yes. And I would say like the community sites are the sites that's more so, looking for different ancillary services to, provide these study procedures versus a hospital that has everything. And so giving more money to the site and potentially the participants that are out in these community sites so they can have a high, steady enrollment as well could potentially be a best way of supporting the growth of these community sites as well.
I think, does that answer your question, Kelvin? Again, let us know in the chat. Boy, these are some good questions. I think last but not least, we are like 20 minutes. We're actually doing
Okay.
good on timing.
Awesome.
Let's see here. Yes. Do you have any tips or advice you can give future candidates, first of all, on how to be a successful senior study coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
research
Oh,
coordinator? And then actually let me go back.
okay.
What tips or advice can you give future candidates on how to become to successfully succeed at getting their PhD? Then we can go to the senior research coordinator role.
Okay. So getting your PhD. So getting your PhD is not, well, of course it's the test of your knowledge, but it's more so a test of will. Once you get into that program, there's going to be a lot of things thrown at you, or not a lot of knowledge thrown at you that you're going to have to, jump hurdles and jump those obstacles to learn more about what you're studying, and also learn more about yourself as a academic professional. And so
Mhm.
there is a lot of things that you can do to prepare yourself for a PhD program, but once you in it, that's when you really know. So I would say the best advice for someone who's looking to get into a PhD program is make sure you're passionate about what you're going to study, because it's you're going to need
Mhm.
that. You're going to need that
Mhm.
passion to carry you
Mhm.
through days where you're wondering, why am I doing this?
Having your
Who cares
why.
about these things?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
in a PhD program, you become the expert on your topic. And so you're the one who's staying up and doing all the studying. And so you're the one who's writing the papers and, making sure that the results are, quantity and stuff is correct. And so you got to have the passion and the drive for what you want to get your PhD in. And I think that will carry you from the beginning to the end until you become a PhD thinking, a doctor, basically,
Yeah.
a philosopher, basically. So, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
I would say that's my best
Excellent.
advice there.
Excellent advice. So,
Yes,
what
yes.
advice can you give candidates moving to into the clinical research industry, like with interviewing tips? How did you
Ooh.
prep for your interview?
Um, Basically, I would say I'm a person who likes to write everything down. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever I was learning about the interviewing process in the clinical research industry, I was always hearing about the STAR method, STAR method. I'm a natural talker, so I was like, oh, how am I get all this down to the STAR method? So I had to really like write down some of the things that I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
answer in the interview through the STAR method, and so that kind of helped me become more confident and answering questions, and not just talking off the topic or off the question the way that they wanted me to answer. So I just had to really become
Yeah.
confident in answering the interviews and the questions in the interviews that way, and just really become confident in what I knew, and just basically standing on my translational skills, and just really putting those out there, putting those forward, and just really honing in on those skills, giving examples, just
Mm-hmm.
telling them like, these are the things that I've done and this is how I've done it, and these are the results to
Mm-hmm.
show. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
really carried on very well in my interviews. Just having that confidence and just having that preparation definitely helped out a lot.
So, did you have anyone helping you prep for your interview at all, or you just did it all on your own? It sounds like you did it all on your own.
So within the Black women in clinical research, I did reach out to a
Mm.
few mentors, I would say, that helped
Mm-hmm.
me along with, how the interviews are going to be set up for certain positions that I was looking for. And so
Mm-hmm.
they just basically told me, or coached me basically, into answering the questions in the interviews, because some of these ladies were also PhDs and did not have any clinical research experience either. So I needed to know how to
Mm-hmm.
navigate that conversation and how to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they definitely coached me and helped me talk about that, and more so talk about the skills that I do bring to clinical research rather than the ones that I don't have. So yes. Yes.
Transferable skills. Speaking about that and what you can actually bring to the table, and really just selling yourself. You know, you have to know yourself. You have to know that you're capable of doing the job. You have to know that whenever clients or people interview, you have to know that you have to solve a problem for the employer. What problem are you going to solve for them? That's all they really care about. They don't, I heard somebody say it's not about you. It's about what you can do to solve the problem at the employer. That's what they want to hear. You can solve those problems I would say 9 out of 10 times, fingers crossed, you know, you're the answers to their solution. So basically that's what it is. And again, you network with the right people, you had mentors. It's not like you did this on your own. And a lot of times, you know, sometimes we think we can do things on our own, and it's okay to ask for help. It's the help, you humbling yourself and asking the right people for the help to get you to where you need to be. And that's basically it. That's what it boils down to. And you were successful at it. Now you're here.
Yes.
Awesome.
I'm a firm. It takes a village. It takes a village.
Yes, it does. Whether it's raising children like my own, or starting a site, or just getting your career up and going, it takes a village. You can't do it on your own.
Cannot do it on your own. Exactly.
Yes. So Kelvin, great advice. I also prepare using STAR method to anticipate questions, and I write everything down too. But I think it's your own passion and authenticity that won you the position. Absolutely. Yes, it did. I have to agree with that.
Yes. I will say I was probably what is it called? A character hire, maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe. But no. I'm definitely I definitely let my colors fly and show in those interviews. But I definitely bring a lot of personality in there as well.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, that I had an interview, a talk with Tiffany Ashton on this last live video. And whenever you're speaking to the recruiters or the hiring managers, you have to show some kind of enthusiasm. You have to show your bright personality, you know, not going overboard with it, but just showing who you are, showing up and this is who I am, and showing your passion and knowing that, like, hey, I love what I do and I would love to help you too. So that really goes a long way.
It really does.
Reverse interviewing helps to research their pain points and offer a way to help. Exactly. Exactly.
Yes, I do love to reverse interview as well. I do want to know what I'm stepping into. As much as
you did
well. I can know.
Yes. Any last remarks, encouraging words? I mean, you did so well. I mean, you explained everything.
I will say this is my very thank you. This is my very first live video. So thank you, Alicia, for having me. This was wonderful.
Yes.
I wrote down everything, but I didn't look at anything I wrote. So this was awesome.
It flowed. I knew it would flow just fine because, you know, whenever we met up, our vibe was just, it was wonderful. We had a great conversation. And your heart is in the right place. Your goals are in the right place. And
thank you.
I just knew it would go well. I knew it would. You shine like a rock star to me.
Thank you. Thank you. You as well. And I wish you the best of luck in these future endeavors. I know that this clinical research site thing is gonna be a journey, but we're gonna get through and we're gonna be successful in it. I know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Kelvin, he says, I was too when I first was hired as a regulatory analyst. I had no idea about the workflows. I just knew about emergency medicine. Oh, cool. I was mostly curious about their pain points and offered a way to help my team. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Ooh, good question. Owning a clinical research site, maybe 2, 3. If I'm being ambitious.
Yeah, very ambitious. I love that.
Yes. So I'm looking just to learn as much as I can over the next 1 or 2 years. Maybe get into a position that's dealing a little bit more responsibility in clinical research trials than the coordinator right now. Learn from that position, and then get straight into opening a site and go off of that site. Hopefully, opening more sites. So that's my goal.
Yes, we'll see you at SOS. You better believe it. I can't wait to go to the next one.
Yes.
Jasmine, we're going to have to make plans to go to the next SOS conference.
Okay. I know I missed this year. But I'm definitely going next year.
It was amazing. It was my first conference. And I said to myself, oh my God, I feel like a rock star. I feel like I'm on top of the world because I've never been to a conference. I've never been on stage to speak as a guest speaker. So again, whenever I get ready to coach my my clients, I'm going to let them like, hey, you guys, this industry, even though it's tough right now, it opens up so many doors that I thought I would have never experienced or imagined. Even with the salary, you know, that's wonderful too. Once you hit certain points in your career. So I mean, the sky is the limit in this industry. Yes, it's tough right now. The market's looking a little funny, but the opportunities are still there. You just got to know where to look.
Yes, exactly.
He says he said that. And he said, let's go.
Let's go.
All right. Absolutely. Let's go, Kelvin. I hope to see you at the conference too. SOS, let's all plan to have a ball, okay?
Okay, yeah.
All right. Great conversation. It was a pleasure to meet you, Dr. Crain.
Very nice conversation with you as well, Kevin. Thank you.
Yes. He kept us going. He kept us going.
He did. Thank you, Kelvin.
So if any one of you guys want to be a guest speaker on my live videos, just let me know. Again, I'm doing this so the people that I know and in my area that can see the opportunities that are out there, that can see what they can learn and just become more comfortable with the clinical research industry itself. And I also have my own clinical research coaching business where I help clients transition into the clinical research space. So if you're interested in that, let me know, ask me questions, and I will be more than happy to help guide you along the way. And he said, I will be there. Okay.
Awesome.
All right, cool. All right, guys, with that being said, if there's nothing else, this concludes our virtual video for today with Dr. Crain. Again, I appreciate you being on. You gave us a lot of information to digest and take in. And maybe there can be, I'm looking for a part 2. So part 2, I'm assuming, part 2 is going to be, she's going to be in a different part of her career journey, and she's going to explain to us how she got there. So,
awesome. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So that ends the video, you guys. I want everyone to have a beautiful, beautiful evening, and see you later.
See you later. Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.